This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stockbox interview.
Hello and welcome to Stockbox. Now, recently, Silver Bullet Mines released news regarding assay results from Super Champ project in Arizona. Now, very warm welcome to you, Peter. Great to have you back with us here at Stockbox. Very significant results here. Now, on November the 18th, you reported assay results from the Super Champ, including 5 assays returning over 1,000 ounces per ton of silver, with gold visible in the mill concentrates. Now, this is pretty impressive.
Yeah, Super Champ is like an advent calendar, right? Every time we open a door, there's another piece of chocolate waiting for us in there. Super Champ has been fantastic.
It sounds it. Now, I'm just going to explore that news a little bit more with you. So how confident are you in the Super Champ's vein size and potential, given its surface exposure of over 1,000 feet?
At surface, it pinches and swells, as all veins do, between 5 and 8 feet. And it's run, so far we've exposed it to 1,000 feet, and it's not going to just terminate there. So we continue to expose the vein as we go. As you pointed out, the grades have been nothing short of spectacular. Like, if you consider that Bonanza silver is commonly thought of as 30 ounces per ton, and we have all of these samples running over 1,000 ounces per ton. And this just isn't a random one here and a random one there. The channel samples average 77, 78, 79 ounces per ton. So as with any mineral project, it could end tomorrow. But logic and math would tell you that this should continue for a considerable period of time.
Yes, indeed. So that brings me on actually to my next question. What is the timeline for mapping the vein system and potentially initiating a drill program in 2025?
As you know, Silver Bullet is not a drill company. We only drill when we're blasting. So you drill a hole, you put in dynamite, you blast it. Mm-hmm. We have elected not to spend a lot of money on tentative exploration. Here, there is some discussion about drilling deep, 200 feet or so, to figure out what does the vein look like at depth. So far, the board has not approved a budget for that, but there is discussion underway.
Yeah, and how are you planning to secure sufficient capital for the 2025 exploration program?
As you know, it's a tough market out there for raising capital, but Silver Bullet has a unique story of being in production from at least 2 sources, Q3, which would be January to March of 2025. I don't know of any other small company that can say that. We have our own mill at which to process the material from the Super Champ so we can control our costs. And the contract miner is up in Idaho doing what he's been contracted to do, which is to blast and pull mineralization from the Washington mine. As a result, we have an excellent story with which to go to market to our very loyal shareholder base that has repeatedly come to us with capital saying we will support you because the investment thesis is such a strong thesis, we wish to be a further part of it.
Yeah, well, a very interesting story indeed. And of course, very interesting news that you just recently released. So let's go back to that news. You also mentioned something which I'm wondering if you could share more details on the potential client's interest in purchasing all available concentrate. Who is this potential client and what, can you tell me more?
Really?
I've got to try and ask Peter.
Really? No, but I can tell you that as a management group, we don't believe there'll be any problem in selling the concentrate or the doré. We have a number of purchasers lining up at the door, and now it's just a question of terms. Yes. From whom can we get the best terms, and with which client can we give the better deal? You always want to have a client who walks away happy with what that client has purchased. So we're in negotiations to make that happen. Also, nobody wants to buy 10 tons of concentrate. We have to run enough till we have a sufficient amount of concentrate on hand to make any sale and purchase worthwhile to the purchaser.
Yes. Yeah. Now, you also have some minor changes at the mill happening to best process the material from the Super Champ. How's that going?
Or very well. And it is minor. It was mainly the addition of a jig, a couple of other minor things. But the metallurgy at the Super Champ is different from the metallurgy at the Buckeye. There are no two mining projects in the world with the same metallurgy. And so you don't process that material in the exact same way. Mm-hmm. Our team determined that it was better to add the jig to process the material from the Super Champ to make it more efficient. That has been inserted, and now we're running 50 tons a day.
Wonderful. Well, that's great hearing where you're up to at the moment with Super Champ. But let's look back at 2024. What were the most significant achievements for Silver Bullet Mines in 2024? Because I know it's a very interesting year for yourselves.
A great year. Surprise question. Getting into Zone 1 at the Buckeye was fantastic. That's a very high-grade area. Took a lot of work to get there, and we will return there. We had a few different people show up with material from their mines. It appears everybody in Arizona has a mine in his or her backyard. We looked at quite a few. They've asked us to process their material, and we selected the Super Champ, both for ease of extraction and for the extreme high grade that it is. And all these press releases have shown just how high grade that material actually is. Mm. That was significant. The company's been able to effect a few financings from a loyal shareholder base that continues to believe in the investment thesis, which really has not changed since we started the company. And getting the contract miner into play up in Idaho was a significant achievement for the company. Mm. We expect revenue from the Washington mine and the Super Champ in Q3, which will be January to March of 2025. And I can't think of any other junior that can say that.
Yeah. So you've mentioned there, Washington, but how has production progressed at your key projects? So let's just have a look at them both individually. So the Buckeye mine and the Washington mine in Idaho, how's that gone over 2024?
The Buckeye mine is, if I had to put a number on it, it's an 8 out of 10. When somebody showed up with the Super Champ and asked us to process that material, that's an 11 out of 10. So it's less wear and tear on our equipment, at higher grade, and easier to extract. They're mining the material at the Super Champ with a backhoe. So if you had those three elements at play, which would you pick? I'd pick the Super Champ every time. So we're still doing the rock bolting at the Buckeye, but we have put more resources towards the Super Champ because it's a far better return on our shareholders' money.
Yeah, indeed. Especially with these latest results that you've just released.
They're mining it with a backhoe, right? Yeah. It's the geologists will go nuts when I say this. It's basically loose gravel. So it's been very easy to extract. And once it goes into our mill, it's less wear and tear on the equipment, which means fewer capital resources need to be directed towards repair and maintenance on the mill. Mm. So it's been a very simple choice to do the Super Champ material.
Yes. So what are your main milestones in 2025?
Revenue.
Particularly looking at quarter one? What are
Q1? No, Q3. Our fiscal year ends in June.
Right.
So Q3 is January to March.
Right.
Revenue. If we don't have revenue in Q3, it's going to get ugly in the boardroom.
And do you have any targets that you can share with us right now?
No. Without a 43-101 on hand, no feasibility study, no PEA, we are restricted in what we can project as to our financials.
Yeah.
I just watched a raccoon run through my backyard. We're restricted as to what we can say under Canadian securities legislation.
Yes.
But we are able to say we expect revenue in Q3, which is the period from January to March 31st, of 2025. And we are firmly on track to make that happen.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations, Peter, from us all here at Stockbox on a very successful year. And we look forward to continuing to follow your journey at Silver Bullet Mines into 2025.
Thank you. You've been a great support. Always enjoy seeing you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.